Hey everyone, welcome to Storytime with Sean, episode number 13, with the thrilling conclusion of the Space Pirates of Sandwich. So, part 2. If you didn't hear part 1, go back a video. It's episode 12, obviously. Anyway, here we go. We last left our hero, Breadbeard, and his piratey pals being hauled away by the douche-tastic, yum-bred CFO, who claimed to be a pirate named Twice Sliced. We rejoin the story at the part where the evil guy goes on to explain his entire plan, thinking that he's won the day and all that stuff, and he's totally safe, and that kind of trope. You see, I've been posing as Twice Sliced for years now. That way, I can attack other companies with no repercussions. But now, I've come to love the ways of a pirate. And I can never forget who pays the bills. The wonderful Yumbread Corporation, he explained to Breadbeard, who sat in a small jail cell in the Yumbread corporate dungeon. Yeah, well, you tricked us. Congratulations. We're space pirates. We drink a lot of rum. All that doesn't really explain why you tricked me and my crew. Breadbeard said, all annoyed, with his arms crossed, all pouty-like. Man, you're so impatient. I was getting to that part. You can't even let a guy soliloquy at his prisoner. Jeez. Twice Sliced sighed, and then pulled up a chair and sat, like a teacher who was trying to relate to the kid in the 90s. He turned it backwards and straddled the back of the chair. Just like that. I was tasked with becoming a pirate for the long con, to find some nefarious ne'er-do-wells who would be willing to chase the ultimate sandwich recipe. Once we found the right person, you, to come after the recipe, I would help you get into our facility. See, we've always known the recipe and where it was, but we could never get inside the secret room. The Porfs and Beefs worked together in their last moments to lock away the recipe so our company could never get it. They sealed it behind a magic barrier that would only be passed through if you had a pure heart with a true love of sandwiches. Twice Sliced let out an evil laugh, but it wasn't very impressive, and Breadbeard gave him a look that said, yeah, no big surprise. That was you. You were the one with the truest sandwich heart. Without you, Yumbread would have never been able to get the recipe and rebrand it as the best yummy sandwich, trademark. What I can't figure out is how you had that key, let alone knew about the secondary door that not even we knew of. It seemed like Twice Sliced was done with his long and obnoxious plot dump, so Breadbeard spoke up. Did you guys test that name? It makes me want to throw up in my mouth. It's the ultimate sandwich. That's all it needs. It totally gets the point across. And as for the key, I have my own secrets, and you can never know them. Fine, whatever. We got what we need. Now we will rule the evil corporate sandwich-making game. Twice Sliced laughed and walked away from the prison cells. Breadbeard watched to make sure he left the room before he stood up and threw his chair that he was sitting on. That insufferable prick! We need to get out of here and really mess up those Yumbread suckers. The other pirates nervously murmured to each other about being trapped and what to do and how they weren't really looking forward to the prison food, which was just going to be terrible sandwiches. Everyone was pretty dejected about the whole situation. It felt like a major loss for sandwich lovers the universe over. Breadbeard began to try and pry the bars apart or shoot them with his laser arm, but nothing was working. It seemed they were trapped. The pirates decided to bide their time, but after a while, it looked like their imprisonment didn't really have a definite end. The Yumbread were spending that time working on how to perfectly market the new sandwich. They had to spend weeks working on what color to make the bread, what catchy slogan to sell it with, and who they were going to get as a celebrity endorsement. All the time, the pirates were working on their escape plan. They had taken bits and pieces of the crappy food they were given and constructed bombs. You really don't want to know what Yumbread makes their food out of. Many investigative journalists have died trying to get that information. Alright, boys, let's bust out of here, Breadbeard called, and the pirates set their explosive and hid in the corners of their cells. The bombs went off, and the pirates burst out, and luckily for them, all their gear was set up in a room right outside their cells. They were in big trouble, however, as all the explosions brought the attention of the Yumbread corporate military, and they were swarming to the jail. The pirates knew their only hope was to get to a communications room, hunker down, and send out a pirate distress call. In totally sick action movie style, the pirates ran down the chrome halls of the stupid corporate headquarters. The pirates made it to a communications room pretty quickly, and with a reasonable amount of yars being yelled, but an impressive amount of explosions. Breadbeard grabbed a microphone that was conveniently set to the exact broadcast signal that he needed it to be, and yelled into it, "This be Breadbeard, callin' a pirate distress call. My crew is captured in the Yum Bread corporate HQ, and we need a rescue. Typical distress rules. Any new plunder found is all yours." He threw down the microphone and started shooting his laser arm down the hallway at random non-pirates. "We need to hold out and hope that someone comes to our rescue, boys. Then we have to take a gamble and get that recipe back." Things weren't really going well for our pirate pals, despite them having gotten their distress call out. The Yumbread corporate army was quickly enclosing on them. "Things aren't really going well for us, boss," cried out one of the pirate grunts, amidst the sounds of laser blasts and dying people. Just as Breadbeard looked like he was getting ready to say a farewell to all his men, there was a huge explosion down the hall. Lootbot version 6.66 was at the end of the hallway, with his 6 laser machine guns in his 6 hands, and screamed, "Yo-ho, bitches!" and then let out with all his guns. In the aftermath, Breadbeard approached Lootbot and thanked him. "You really saved my ass, but I've got unfinished business to take care of." Lootbot nodded. "Well, these places are always full of stuff to steal and robots to liberate. You do you, but you totally owe me one. Remember that." And they went their separate ways, with Lootbot blasting anything that wasn't a pirate, and Breadbeard out looking for Twice Sliced. BB found TS in a boardroom surrounded by businessmen discussing what slogan would be inoffensive while still saying that this sandwich is way better than anything you could ever be. "Twice douche, it's time for you to taste my blade," Breadbeard demanded. "Oh, I should have known that all that commotion was you, and not some kind of team-building exercise we got going on." "Fine, it's time to duel," Twice Slice said, as if he were uninterested. Both of them jumped onto the table and drew their swords and went about hacking at each other. Their laser swords clashed and made really cool noises. One businessman asked if they needed to stay or if they could take a short break, but then his head got cut off by a stray sword slice. The two were slicing at each other while doing cool flips and stuff, when someone else from the table stood up to present his charts and graphs about something business-related. When he got to a part in his talk where there was expected to be a loss to come up in Q3, Twice Slice got distracted, and Breadbeard knocked him down with a cool sweeping kick. Standing with his sword at Twice Slice's throat, Breadbeard decided it was time for him to give a little speech. "You wanted to know how I knew about the door, and how I knew to open it with this little key that I have? Well, I'll tell you. I am the last surviving Porf. It is my species' legacy that I want to carry out with that recipe, and it is our vengeance that your destruction will satisfy. This is your end, Yum Bread." "So, that's how you did it. I see." Twice Slice started to talk in an obvious attempt to distract Breadbeard and get out of his current predicament. "Nope. I'm no stupid monologuing bad guy," Breadbeard said, and then stabbed TS right in his dumb, betrayal-filled face. Having the power of perfect timing, the rest of the pirates burst into the room right at that second. The building was going to fall apart, and they all needed to get out of there right now. The pirates raced out of the building and onto Lootbot's ship. Lootbot had finished ransacking the place, and even liberated a sexy fax machine to be his pirate wife. They flew away, and the corporate tower collapsed into rubble. The pirates would live to see another day, and another sandwich-filled lunchtime. Breadbeard's crew set off to begin their work on sharing the best sandwich the universe had ever known with all the known universe, which is a pretty daunting task. So that will have to be a story for another time. The end. Okay, guys, thank you for listening to another Storytime with Sean. That was the first time I ever did a two-parter, and, made a little bit of a longer story, even if it had a little break, because I kind of wanted to make short videos and work on this stuff. I'd really love any sort of feedback, you guys, a comment or anything. You can follow me on Twitter or Facebook. All that stuff is in the description. If you've gotten this far in the story, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I think that I will be taking a little bit, or I'll be doing these a little slower, I guess. Might go back to the once every other week situation. I've got some other stuff that I really need to get done, and I've kind of been putting off, and I feel like I just need a little more time to work on stories. Because it turns out putting out a short story every week is a little bit difficult, even if it's 4 pages, because you got to figure out all that stuff. So yeah, there probably won't be another one of these next week, but there'll be another one the week after. Hopefully. I would really like to hear any of suggestions you guys have, or prompts, or any sort of funny sci-fi things. I'd be glad to listen to them. It would help me with ideas to probably make these better, I guess. But really, thank you very much for listening to all of this. There'll be more me playing video games, so you can always watch those if you really need to hear me. Otherwise, that's it. Like I said, thanks for listening, and I will catch you guys in 2 weeks.